What's up, guys? It's Cam Williamson here, back again with a brand new series of book reviews. If I'm gonna do book reviews, I have to start with my absolute favorite. You guys may not know, I am the #1 fan of Nicholas Sparks. I love Nicholas Sparks. I've loved all his movies. I like his books. So today I figure let's start with his newest one, and then we'll talk about some of his older ones in another video. His newest novel, Dreamland. I was a fan. Right? This is the first time I actually grabbed a hard physical copy of a book, sat, and read it. Right? For Nicholas Sparks. I've done that for other authors, but this was the first time I was like, I want to sit, I want to read this book. I will start by saying there are going to be spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers of the book, turn this video off, go watch one of the other ones where they just give you the basic plot outline. I am going to tell you the story. I'm going to give you the characters. I'm going to give you the ebbs and flows. And I'm not going to say 3, 2, 1 every time before I give a spoiler. So if you don't want to know, don't watch this video. This is for people who have read it, who have listened to it, who have whatever, and you want to be a part of a discussion community about Dreamland. Okay, first things first. You got Colby. Colby is the male main character of the book. Colby is a farmer. Colby is a musician. Colby is on vacation from his farm, and he is playing music at a bar where he meets Morgan, who is female main character B, we'll call her, because there is Beverly, who is female main character A. This is where this book gets a little confusing. If you've never picked up a book and physically read it that has two stories going on simultaneously, it may be a little difficult for you to initially get into, like this book was for me, as much as I love Nicholas Sparks. You're hearing two different plots starting, right? You can assume they're going to meet somewhere towards the end. Beverly's story, we'll start with her because it's more complicated to talk about. Beverly's story is very similar to that of Safe Haven. In Safe Haven, there is a female main character who is trying to escape her abusive ex-husband. He was a cop or an FBI agent or something like that. And the whole control he had over her was that he would use this power to keep her and to make sure that any allegations of abuse would be killed quickly. So in Safe Haven, the character, I forget her name in that movie right now or book right now, but she's actively running, not trying to like come at him for abuse. Same thing going here. You have Beverly, who is running from her husband. She has a child. She was being abused in a marriage. He works for the Homeland Security. So she just assumes that the second she began to run, she had an APB out on her, which is what happened in Safe Haven, right? She ran. He put an APB out for attempted murder. It was a big thing. So right there, my initial, and this is just me being honest as Nicholas Sparks' #1 fan, it felt a little lazy to reuse that same plot line again, where we have the woman who's running from the law enforcement type husband to try to create a new life. Now, in Safe Haven, there was no kid involved for her. In this one, there was. Tommy. Okay. We have Colby. Colby works a farm with his aunt and uncle. His uncle passes. He is then left to pretty much run the farm so that way his aunt's life doesn't completely fall apart and they don't lose everything. While playing these shows, Colby meets Morgan. Morgan is a younger girl. Sorry, there's dust all over my microphone. Morgan is a younger girl who is a social media influencer. She's a dancer for TikTok of sorts, and you can tell that, Colby just doesn't understand that kind of thing. He's just, he's a very down-home, humble kind of guy. You assume he plays like country music or, like southern rock type of music. Morgan is down at the bar with her friends. They hit it off. I don't even remember the initial conversation as to how they start. I think she's just like, hey, you're really great, something like that. He asked her out on a date. They ultimately fall in love within like a week. I don't think Nicholas Sparks did a great job building why they fell in love. It was like they met. She was a little reluctant, but not really at all. They like rush into these quick seeming dates. They sit down, they write a song together. That seems to be where the connection is built. When in that, what would be a scene if they made a movie where they're sitting in his hotel writing that first song together. So I guess we can get that they believe in each other. They see each other for the creative abilities that they have. They're trying to pull them out of each other while dealing with some insecurities. They share their upbringing. Kobe's was a little challenging, but he doesn't really get to why. And they did a good job hiding the big reveal at the end, which we're going to get to. With Morgan, I thought her character could have been developed a little bit more. Just being a pretty girl who's a TikTok dancer, who's nice for Kobe to lust after the whole book is fine, but I feel like Nicholas Sparks is a better writer than that. He could have gave Morgan more charm, more pizzazz, other than she can sing, she's pretty, and she built a TikTok following. She didn't really have like a foundation to her, I felt, which was weird because Kobe had so much foundation. And then when on Beverly's side, you get lost because I kept having to convince myself I'm not reading Safe Haven. I'm not hearing that story right now. And that's kind of hard because then you start to think, well, what are the similarities of Nicholas Sparks' books? Well, they're always based somewhat in North Carolina, somehow. You assume that either Kobe came from North Carolina or the bar that he's playing is somewhere on a shorey type area like that. And again, I don't remember, did he come from North Carolina to go play in a bar in Florida, or was he in somewhere else and he went to, I don't remember. You know there's going to be that. Nicholas Sparks doesn't mind killing a character off. He usually will play to some sort of mental health. So let's get to that. Beverly is running from her husband. She's paranoid the entire time that he's going to find her, to the point where she dresses up in a disguise. She won't let her son, Tommy, who's like 5, won't let him be seen with her in public, so she's constantly keeping distances while they get on trains, and she's putting wigs on, she's changing wigs, she's putting hats on. She's very weird when she has to engage with even a cashier. How could this person know me? How could they have a connection back to law enforcement? And it builds, you can see that there's a clear paranoia. You feel it's justified because of the abuse that she sustained. So you're like, okay, this is valid. He works for Homeland Security. As someone who is in the military, I'm not really the usual demographic for Nicholas Sparks books, but I was in the military. I was military police, and I was in Guantanamo Bay. So I can tell you guys pretty confidently that just because someone is in military, law enforcement, Homeland Security, that doesn't mean they have the ability to go, insert name, screw this person over forever. It's great for a storyline, but for me, I'm like, yeah, I get it. You're creating the thriller suspense of, oh, is she going to get caught? But to me, again, I heard it in Safe Haven, so I was not so sold on Beverly. I would have liked the book had it been 2 separate books. Beverly's story, 1 book. Kobe and Morgan's story, another book completely. Because I did, even though I felt there was a lack of foundation in what made them connect. Why did they fall in love? What was the spark other than she can sing and she's pretty and, whatever, and she's a girl that's in front of me right now. You got kind of the feeling in this book that Kobe fell for her because he had never just been around women that he wasn't related to. He talks about growing up on a farm and he had one girl that he just wasn't really that close to or whatever, and they broke it off. The romance side of this book lacked in the sense of, I think Nicholas Sparks seemed confused on how he was going to bring it all together. So let's go there now. How did it all get brought together? Beverly ends up moving to this small little town. She lives in a farmhouse. She becomes extremely paranoid inside the farmhouse. She's afraid that the husband's going to find her, that the owner of the house is onto her, that she's on the run, and that somehow this person is going to contact her husband and tell on her. Well, then, through her paranoia, she has no money. She's not sleeping. She's not eating. She's literally buying Tommy, like, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and, like, an apple is what he can eat every day. And then she can have, like, chicken. She buys bulk chicken, and he eats the same thing, like, every single day. He wears the same clothes every day because they don't have any money. She didn't want to, attach herself to a bank account. So she has all these like weird roundabout ways that she has to live life inside of her paranoia. It comes to, she finds some weed in the floorboard. There's some guns hidden around the house, and she believes that she is now living in a house of criminals, right? So she knows, okay, there's people keep coming and knocking on the door. She's not answering it because she's, obviously paranoid. Push come to shove, tunnel all the way down. She decides she has to run again because these people are onto her. She thinks her and Tommy are in danger. Come to be, Tommy doesn't get off the bus one day from school, and she believes that her husband has found him and is on the way to come get her for kidnapping. So she commits suicide. So right there, we have mental health is brought in via suicide. But it's deeper than that. You saw the paranoia build the entire time. So you knew there was some paranoia issues there. And I don't know how some people didn't at least sense it coming, that Beverly was not somehow related to Colby. And that the farm Colby lived on was now the farm that Beverly lives on. And during this time, you had to figure out, why are these two connected? How are they connected? The only thing that changes is Colby left this area. So you find that during Colby's time of being gone, his sister stopped taking her meds. She's, I think they said it was borderline personality disorder or bipolar disorder. I don't remember which one they claimed that she had. I think it was bipolar disorder. She's not schizophrenic, and he went into like how it's different, but she did. Her husband and Tommy died in a car accident. Tommy was a hallucination via trauma, via a manic episode that she was in. As someone who's a bipolar 1, I can relate to manic episodes, not visual or auditory hallucinations. So that kind of brought it all home to me, where it really did bring the entire story together, because at this point for Morgan and Colby, where it's like, hey, this time that I'm here in this city playing these shows and the time she was there for her summer vacation was over, we care about each other. They've told each other they love each other. I think they had just made love for the first time. And then that next like moment, he has to rush off because his aunt has a stroke and they can't find his sister. So he's frantic trying to rush home. They make it seem like he's frantic because of his aunt, but then once he finds out his aunt is okay, can't get a hold of his sister, he becomes more frantic. And it's like he knows what's up. He rushes in the house and he finds his sister dead. Well, I don't think she didn't die. She was like in a coma, and she was like borderline. He kind of left things open. There was no ending conversation with Morgan, and Morgan ends up showing up at the house, and the big, our Notebook ending where she comes back. They figure life out together when otherwise you don't think that they would. But you did have the severity of realizing Beverly was in a manic episode. Tommy was not real. The whole book, a little Sixth Sense action. And it did kind of justify that to me too, where the safe haven story that he used was not valid because the husband wasn't abusing her. Well, they didn't really know, but this idea of why he had to go in her head was not true. He died in a car accident with the son. Heavy. Nicholas Sparks is good for heavy. I thought as far as romance goes in this story, we could have done a little more to make you fall in love with Morgan. I was in it for Colby, and I wanted things to work out for Colby. He was the main character of the book. Everything revolved around Colby. It was his sister. It was his love interest. It was his perspective through most of the book, other than when it was Beverly's. So I would say Colby being the main character, he was the most developed for that. I give the book an 8.5 out of 10. If I had to give it a 10 a 0 from 10 structure, I would give this an 8.5 out of 10. I would give it a 9 out of 10 had Morgan been a little more developed. I would have gave it a 10 out of 10 had there not been such the similarity shining through the darkness of the plot from Safe Haven. guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you like these reviews. We're going to do more. I've got a few coming. I just finished the oh-so-popular Verity by Colleen Hoover, so we'll be doing a review on this. I finished The Wish by Nicholas Sparks. We'll be doing that one. And we have this series here, The First to Die at the End, which is a prequel by Adam Silvera. So we will be doing that series at some point as well. I've got quite a few to get through. If you want to hang out for them, hit the thumbs up button so that way YouTube knows you like them. Subscribe so you see everything, and hit the bell so you see it as soon as we drop it. Love you guys. We'll see you in the next one.